You are 25 years old, and $500 feels like a lot of money to give up every month. Not in a way that is hard to explain, in a way that is very easy to explain. Rent is due, the car needs an oil change, a friend is getting married in April, and you are expected to show up for 3 separate events before the actual wedding. The $500 is not sitting there doing nothing. The $500 is already spoken for mentally before it arrives in your account. That is the condition most people in this country live inside of. Not broke, not wealthy, spoken for. Every dollar claimed before it lands. You have heard about investing. You have probably opened an app at some point, looked at the interface, felt a low-grade anxiety about doing something wrong, and closed it. The options felt like a test you hadn't studied for. Index funds, ETFs, expense ratios, and dividend reinvestment. The language was not designed to welcome you. It was designed for people who already knew what they were doing, which meant it was designed for people who already had money, which is how most financial infrastructure in this country actually works. But something happened recently. A number crossed your feed, a projection. Someone showed what $500 a month becomes over 30 years at a historically average market return. The number was large enough that you looked at it twice, large enough that you felt something between disbelief and a specific kind of grief. The grief of someone who has just understood that time is the one resource you cannot earn back. That number is where the story begins. The first thing you need to understand is what $500 a month actually is before it becomes anything else. $500 a month is $6,000 a year. It is less than most Americans spend annually on food away from home. It is less than the average car payment multiplied by 12. It is approximately what the average U.S. household spends on entertainment in a calendar year. The point is not to shame any of those categories. The point is that $500 a month is not an abstraction. It is a real number that exists inside a real budget. And the question of whether it becomes invested capital or consumed lifestyle is a decision made once and then repeated automatically month after month until the decision has compounded into an outcome. You decide to start because you understand for the first time with real clarity that not starting is also a decision, and that decision has a cost too. The cost of not starting is invisible. It does not show up on a statement. It does not arrive as a bill. It accumulates silently in the distance between what you will have and what you could have had, and you will not see that distance clearly until it is too late to close it entirely. You set up an automatic transfer. $250 goes into your Roth IRA on the 1st of the month. $250 goes into a brokerage account on the 15th. The amount split across 2 accounts for a reason you will understand more fully later. For now, the mechanism is running. The habit has a structure. The structure will do work that your motivation alone never could. You are 3 months in, and nothing dramatic has happened. The account shows a number that is slightly larger than what you put in. The market moved up a little. The market moved down a little. The net result looks like nothing. This is the part where most people stop, not because they are irresponsible, because the human brain is not built to find meaning in small, invisible progress. The brain responds to signals, feedback, evidence that the effort is working. And in the first year of consistent investing, the feedback is almost non-existent. The $500 you did not spend is now $1,600 in an account. Meanwhile, the $500 you would have spent would have been gone completely and permanently with nothing remaining except the memory of whatever it purchased. That distinction is real even when it doesn't feel real. The $1,600 is working. The spent $500 is not. The difference between those 2 outcomes will not be visible for years. That is the entire challenge and the entire opportunity of what you're doing. You do not touch the account. This is harder than it sounds. A friend mentions a trip. A sale appears on something you have wanted, and the car makes a new sound. Every one of those events creates a reason to stop, to pause, or to redirect the money back toward its old purpose. You do not. You treat the transfer the way you treat rent. It is not optional. It is not subject to negotiation. It leaves on schedule, regardless of what else is happening. This decision, which feels minor in month 3, is the most important financial decision you will make this decade. You are 1 year in, and the account holds $6,400. The market returned roughly 7% on average during the year, which is close to the historical average of the S&P 500 adjusted for inflation over long periods. That return added a few $100s to the principal you contributed. The number is not impressive yet. What is impressive, though you may not feel it yet, is the base. You have built a base. A base is not exciting. A base is what everything else is built on top of. You also did something else during this year that you did not fully realize you were doing. You changed your relationship to $500. The month before you started, $500 felt necessary, claimed, already gone. Now it does not feel like deprivation. It feels like infrastructure. You adjusted, the lifestyle recalibrated around the new number. This is the inverse of lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most powerful financial moves available to an ordinary person. You contracted your lifestyle to fit a smaller number, and you did not feel the contraction the way you feared you would. That adjustment is worth more than the $6,400 in the account. The account can be rebuilt if something goes wrong. The habit of living below your income cannot be bought. It has to be built the way you built it, 1 month at a time, until it becomes the default. You are 3 years in, and the account holds just over $21,000. Something has shifted in how you look at the number. It no longer feels like a savings account. It feels like a second income that you have not met yet. The balance is generating returns on returns. The $6,400 from year 1 is compounding inside the $21,000. The contributions from year 2 are compounding. The contributions from year 3 are compounding. Each layer of money is growing at a different rate because each layer has been in the market for a different length of time. This is what compound interest actually looks like from the inside. Not a chart, not a projection, a real account with a real balance that is growing faster than the rate at which you are adding to it. You learn the term that describes this, the crossover point, the moment when your investment returns in a given year begin to exceed your annual contributions. You are not there yet. At $21,000 generating 7% annually, the account returns approximately $1,470 in a year. Your annual contribution is $6,000. The returns are not yet outpacing the contributions, but the gap is closing. Every year the account gets larger, the returns get larger, and the contribution stays the same. The math is moving in your direction, and it is moving faster than it was a year ago. This is the mechanics of compounding that no one explains clearly enough. It is not magic, it is arithmetic, but it is arithmetic that runs in your favor automatically every day, without any additional effort from you, as long as you do not interrupt it. You are 5 years in, and the account holds approximately $42,000. You have contributed $30,000 of your own money over 5 years. The remaining $12,000 is the market's contribution. Your money has generated $12,000 that required no labor from you, no additional hours, no second job, no side hustle. It required only that you not touch what you started. That is a number worth sitting with. $12,000 produced by consistency and time and the fundamental mathematics of how invested capital grows in a functioning economy. You also notice something at this point in the journey that is harder to quantify, but just as important. Your financial anxiety has changed, not disappeared, changed. You are not anxious about the account fluctuating because you have watched it fluctuate for 5 years and it has always recovered. The market dropped 11% in 1 quarter during year 4, and you felt the drop viscerally, the way anyone does, but you did not sell, You did not redirect the automatic transfer. You did nothing, which is the correct response to market volatility when your horizon is 25 more years. The account recovered. The lessons from that recovery are now permanent. You understand something that most people only understand in theory. The market does not reward the most knowledgeable investor. It rewards the most patient one. Patience is a financial strategy. It compounds the same way money does. You are 10 years in, and the account holds approximately $104,000. You have crossed $100,000. That threshold matters psychologically in a way that is difficult to overstate. Below $100,000, the account feels like a savings vehicle. Above it, the account begins to feel like a system that is running independently of your daily decisions. The returns in a single good year now exceed $7,000. You are contributing $6,000 annually. The account is now generating more than you were putting in on a per-year basis. The crossover point has arrived. From this point forward, you are no longer the primary engine of growth. The compounding is. Your $500 a month still matters, and you still contributed, but the mathematical reality is that the money already in the account is doing more work than the money you are adding. This is the moment that most financial educators point to, but rarely explain with the weight it deserves. You have built something that works without you. Not entirely, not permanently, but structurally, the foundation is load-bearing now. You also look back at the person who was 3 months in, staring at a $1,600 balance and wondering if any of this was real. You remember the trips you did not take, the things you did not buy, the money that transferred out of your checking account on the 1st and the 15th with the reliability of a utility bill. None of those individual moments felt significant. Together, they built $104,000. That is what discipline looks like from the outside after the fact. From the inside, at the time, it looks like nothing. It looks like a habit. It looks like the thing you do before you do everything else. You are 15 years in, and the account holds approximately $200,000. You started with zero and a decision. The decision was not genius. It was not complicated. It was $500 a month, automatically transferred, left alone, invested in a low-cost index fund that tracks the broad U.S. market, diversified across thousands of companies, rebalanced once a year. That is the entire strategy. There's nothing proprietary about it. There is no secret. The secret, if there is one, is that you did it when the payoff was invisible, and you kept doing it when the payoff was still small, and you did not stop when the market made it uncomfortable. You have contributed $90,000 of your own money over 15 years. The account holds $200,000. The market and compounding have contributed $110,000. Your money has more than doubled through returns alone. The ratio will continue to shift. By year 20, the market's contribution will dwarf yours. By year 30, you will be a minority stakeholder in the growth of your own account. You explain this to a younger colleague who asks why you seem so unbothered by things that stress other people out. You do not have a clean answer. You say something about having a foundation. She nods but doesn't fully follow. You remember being her. You remember not fully following either. Some things only make sense from inside them. You are 20 years in, and the account holds approximately $312,000. The growth curve has bent upward in a way that is now visible even to a casual observer. You contributed $120,000 over 20 years. The account holds has added $192,000 to your net worth without a single additional decision on your part beyond the original one made at 25. The account is now generating in an average year over $21,000 in returns. That is more than many Americans earn in 6 months of work. It was produced by a balance sitting in a market index fund, compounding quietly, attracting no attention, and requiring no maintenance. You have also done something over these 20 years that the account balance does not capture. You have become the kind of person who is not moved by financial panic. When the news cycles through market crashes and economic anxiety and warnings of a recession, you watch with a detached interest of someone who has been through several of those cycles and understands the relationship to a long-term investment horizon. Short-term volatility is a feature of the system you are in, not a threat to it. You learn this not by reading it, but by living through it with money on the line. The $500 a month never changed. You earned more over 20 years and your lifestyle improved modestly. But the $500 stayed fixed because the discipline that built the habit is the same discipline that keeps it. You did not increase the contribution each time your income rose, not because you couldn't, but because the $500 was already doing the work. The raises went to life. The $500 went to the future. That division, maintained quietly for 2 decades, is now $312,000. You are 30 years in and the account holds approximately $567,000, just under $600,000 produced by one decision, made at 25, sustained without drama for 30 years. You contributed $180,000 of your own money. The market contributed, you put in the market return $2.15 on top of it. That ratio is not an advertisement. It is arithmetic applied to historical average returns, consistently across a long enough time horizon that the compounding had room to run. You are 55 years old. The account is not your only asset. You have a home with equity. You have a 401k from decades of employer contributions and your own deferrals. You have a small taxable brokerage account where you invested additional amounts in the years when you could afford to. The $500 a month account is one pillar of a structure that now looks from the outside like financial security. From the inside, it looks like 30 years of one small decision repeated without interruption. You think about the person you were at 25, looking at a financial app and feeling a low-grade anxiety about doing something wrong. That person made one right move, not a perfect move, not an optimal move, a consistent one. The consistency across the decades is what did it, not the amount, not the timing, not the fund selection, though that mattered at the margin. The consistency across the decades is what turned $180,000 into $562,000. Somewhere in this country, a 25-year-old is looking at their bank account right now. They have $500 that is not yet spoken for. It arrived this week and it has not yet been assigned a purpose. They are deciding in the next few days or hours whether that $500 becomes something or becomes nothing. Not nothing dramatic, nothing ordinary. A dinner, a weekend, a purchase they will not remember in 6 months. They do not know yet that the decision they are about to make is not a $500 decision. It is a $387,000 decision, because that is what $500 invested consistently, left alone, compounded over 30 years at a historical average rate of return becomes, in addition to their own contributions. The $500 is not the point. The decision is the point. The decision to treat one amount of money differently than they have ever treated money before, to move it before it gets spent, to automate it before the month gives them a reason not to start before they feel ready, because the feeling of readiness is not a prerequisite. It is a reward that arrives years later, after the habit has already done the work. The math does not care how you feel about it. The compounding does not require your confidence. It requires only your consistency. Start before you are ready. The 30 years will pass regardless. The only question is what is in the account when they do.